Another lazy afternoon, the clouds covered in gray. Third coffee of the day. Almost fell asleep on Zoom. I yawn at the display. Third meeting of the day. But I can hear raindrops tap dancing on the
Hey guys,
roof.
welcome back to
It's
my
like
channel.
they're
Today's
calling
video is
out
going to
those
be a April reading wrap up. Yeah, so let's get into it. I did not do very well on my TBR, but I did have a very good reading month. So without further ado, let's just hop into these books. Okay, so the first book that I read is Chasing Love by Kat T. Mason. It is first in the Dark Love series, I think it is called. Yeah, the Dark Love series. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and it's best friend's brother trope, but this book was not for me. I did not enjoy the writing style that the author did, and it just was honestly a struggle. I really thought about putting it down so many times, but I ended up getting to like the 70% mark before I was like really done with it. And at that point I was just like, I might as well just finish it because it's only oh, okay. So it was also almost 500 pages, which was a little too long, definitely way too long. Not for me. I gave it a 1.75 because I honestly was going to DNF it if I hadn't made it to like I don't know. I powered through it though, so I gave it a higher star rating. Sorry, by the way, sorry if I have a bit of a nasally voice or I sound a little funny. I'm still slowly recovering from COVID, so I'm doing my best here. So the next book I read was A Vow So Bold and Deadly, which is the third in the Cursebreaker series. I think I liked this book the least of the series, but honestly it was still pretty good. I just I don't know, I didn't really like the ending. I thought some things happened that weren't really necessary, but I am finally finished one of the series. This makes it like I finished the Cursebreaker series, which I'm really happy about because, as you know, that is one of my goals this year, is to actually get through some of the series that I started last year because I've really had a hard time. So I gave it 3.5 stars. It was good. It wrapped everything up neatly so that like I'm not looking for more of this series, but I just was missing some of the characters, and I don't know, some of the things. I don't really, like, I don't want to spoil it or anything like that if you did. But if you did read it, let me know what you thought of the series. Okay, and I finished another one of the series. I read Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo, which is the second in the King of Scars and the last in the Grishaverse universe. And I'm so happy that I stuck it out to reading King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, because although like I did like Six of Crows, I didn't love Crooked Kingdom as much. And I really like, it was just okay. This the Shadow and Bone series or trilogy, I'm really glad I stuck it out because Rule of Wolves was probably my favorite, it definitely was my favorite of the whole series. I gave it 4.75 stars. I absolutely loved it. I can't remember what it was that knocked it down to 4.75, but it was like something pretty minor that I was like, I think that the ending, it just didn't wrap it up completely in my mind. And I know that there was rumors about having a third in the Six of Crows series, and I think I would like that based on the ending of this. 4.75, loved it. I love Nikolai. I just love all the characters in the King of Scars books. Okay, and the next book I read is The Romance Book Club. If you saw my planning reading video, you know that this was my book club book, and we haven't been able to discuss it because myself and another person in the group got COVID, but I'm really excited to discuss it with them, so I don't want to talk about it too much in case any of them watch the video, but because I'm really excited to talk about it. But I will say that I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Honestly, it was really what I needed after reading so many fantasy books. After not really liking the one Kindle romance that I had been reading, I just really needed this, and it was like, so I gave it 5 stars. I'm really excited to read the rest of the books in the series. Okay, and I also finished the Briar U series. I'm really proud of myself this month. I finished a lot of series, which I'm really proud of. At least I started off the month finishing a bunch of series. So I finished The Dare by Al Kennedy, which is the 4th in the Briar U series. This one was the first in the Briar U series that gave me that like fuzzy, excited feeling that the off-campus series did, and I just really liked the characters and everything in this book. I don't know, but the only thing I really didn't like is that it seemed like it was going really well, and then the last from the last 20% to 30% of the book, so much stuff got shoved into it, almost like at the end of a fantasy book when everything comes down to this, and like I just thought that it was way too much. It didn't need to be as much as happened at the end, and I didn't really think there was like much discussion about what happened, so I gave it 4 stars. I did really like it, and it gave me that off-campus series book feeling that I was looking for in the Briar U series, but didn't really get in the rest of the books. But 4 stars. Next, I read Frostbite, which is the 2nd in the Vampire Academy series. I loved this book, like 5 stars. I don't know what it is about these books, but like I think it's just like the nostalgic factor. Whenever I am reading books that were my favorite when I was in high school or middle school, I can't remember when I read this, but I remember I loved this series, and I loved the Bloodline series, so whenever I read them I kind of just like give it 5 stars just because of the nostalgic factor. Like the nostalgic factor takes over when I'm reading this book. Was there issues with it? Sure, or whatever, like, but I don't really care. It brought me joy, and that's why I gave it 5 stars. So if it brings me joy, it gets 5 stars, unless there's something that like in me that says it didn't quite hit the 5-star mark. But yeah, I really liked it. There's actually a reference to Canadian geese in here that I thought was really funny. Yeah. It says, like, it was like, Canadian geese might be worse than vipers though. I gave him a sidelong look. Canadian geese are deadlier than vipers? Have you ever tried to feed one of those little bastards? He asked, attempting seriousness and failing. They're vicious. You get thrown to vipers, you die quickly, but the geese, that'll go on for days, more suffering. And actually, a fun fact, and if you didn't know this, that Canadian geese actually have teeth on their tongues, which like is terrifying. They're a terrifying animal. I'm not a huge fan of like birds in general, but like Canadian geese are terrifying, but I thought it was really funny that they mentioned it in the book. Okay, next I listened to the audiobook of Sorcery of Thorns. This book it's a YA fantasy book, and I think I was just in a bit of a fantasy rut when I was reading this, because like I did enjoy the characters, but I wasn't invested in the story, and like usually audiobooks are where I am fully invested, because I'm doing I'm usually doing some like not exciting tasks, like I'm going out for a walk, I'm doing laundry, I'm cleaning up, like something like that while I'm listening to an audiobook. So usually I'm fully engaged, but something about this one, I was not fully engaged in the storyline. And so I gave it 3.75 stars. I did enjoy it. And I think if I was in like a different headspace, I probably would have enjoyed it more. But when I read it, 3.75 stars. And then I read Lords of Mercy, which is on Kindle Unlimited. That is the 3rd book in the Royals of Forsyth University series. It's the last book in the Lords series, and then it's moving on to the Dukes. So I'm excited about that, to learn about another one of the fraternities. These books are ridiculous, but this was definitely my favorite of the three because like they actually all got along this book. And the concept of these books are ridiculous, I'm not gonna lie. But did I have fun reading them? Yeah, I did. I like thoroughly sort of, I don't know if I thoroughly enjoyed the ride, but I enjoyed bits and pieces at least. So I gave this one 4 stars. And I think that's probably generous. Next, staying on Kindle, I read Where Good Girls Go to Die, which is a brother's best friend romance, and oh my god, I loved it. Brother's Best Friend, I don't know what it is about it, but it's one of those series that I really, really love. I think it's just like, I don't know what it is about it, but it also was a second chance. It was just exactly what I wanted out of a brother's best friend romance. It was exactly the kind of romance that I wanted at the time, so I gave it 5 stars because I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I think I even read it. I read it in less than 24 hours. I think I started it the night on Friday night, and then I read it for like several hours Saturday morning and finished it. So 5 out of 5 stars. Okay. Next, I moved on to Reminders of Him. This is when I got COVID, so I was a little slow going through this, and I think probably because I was sick, I didn't get into the book as much as I would have. If not, this definitely wasn't my favorite Colleen Hoover book, but I did really enjoy it. I cried, which happens in every Colleen Hoover book for me. I love that her books are not just like a classic. They're never just your classic romance. There's always some sort of sad twist or something in the book. And so I give 4.25 stars because, it's probably more of a 4.5 when I think back on it, because I really did. I loved the writing style, loved everything about it. I just wasn't fully invested, and I think that's mostly on me because I was sick at the time. But I did really enjoy it though. 4.25 stars. And next I read Trouble by Tia Louise. Yeah, Tia Louise. On Kindle Unlimited. This one is, honestly, like I don't remember anything about this book. Okay, so this was like a billionaire romance. Wow, I really do not remember this. This was also read when I was sick. I don't remember like any of this. I gave it 3.5 stars, so I probably enjoyed it, but nothing stuck with me. So maybe it's more of a 3-star book. I'm not sure. I can't believe it. I'm usually pretty good at remembering books, but like I legitimately don't remember anything about this book. So that's good. Next, I listened to the audiobook of Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors. I read this one mostly before I got sick on walks with Kevin. I will say I am not really one to read the classics. I've never read Pride and Prejudice, so it wasn't really like, I didn't really get the retelling part of it, which is probably silly of me. Like, why do I read retellings if I have never read the original story? I don't know. Probably something I should dive into deeper, but I did enjoy the book. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the main character. It just bothered me. The lack of communication in this book really bothered me. So I give it 4 stars. I liked it, but the lack of communication drove me nuts. Then I read A Torch Against the Night, which is the second in the An Ember in the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. I really liked this one. I didn't like it as much as the first book. I thought it was really slow paced, and honestly at the end there, I'm not really sure what was happening. I was very confused at the end, so I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm still going to read the rest of the series because I'm interested in what's going to happen, but I did not see that twist coming, and So I'm very curious as to how, and I don't really understand how this book is going to stretch on to 2 more books, but I'm interested to see what happens. Okay. So then I listened to A More and More by Krista Ritchie and Becca Ritchie, the 2 sisters, and this book has convinced me to read the Calloway and Addicted series. So I will be reading that. I'm going to be ordering those books for like my birthday, which is in May, because they had little references to the Calloway and they made it seem like it was a reality TV show in the books, and I thought it was really clever. So I'm excited to read about it and have an opinion on who is my favorite couples and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed this book. It was such a different concept. It's about the circus, which I really like books about the circus. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that I really enjoy. I give 5 stars because I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think I read it in like, or I listened to it in 2 days. I never wanted to stop listening to it. If that makes any sense. Like, I stopped listening to it when I was at work, and I only listened to it when I was like taking Kevin for walks and stuff like that. But I really didn't want to stop listening to it. I would have listened to it all day if I could have. So I gave it 5 stars because I thoroughly enjoyed it, and this has convinced me to read a 10-book series, so you know it's good. Next, I read The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Correct me in the comments, please, if you know how it's pronounced. But this book is a chonker. This is, I don't know what possessed me to start reading this series. I guess I must have been really into fantasy this month. But I gave this 3.75 stars. I have a feeling I'll like the rest of the series a lot more. There was a lot of world building, it was just really slow in the middle. And I'm a little confused about what happened in the ending. I think I know what they were referring to, but I'm not 100% sure. Now I have questions that I need to read the second book, so I'm going to be picking up the second book very soon. I'm very excited to read it, but I give this one 3.75 stars, knowing that I'm probably going to like the rest of the series a lot more. And last but not least, I read Infamy by Krista and Becca Ritchie again. This is the second book in the ethereal book. This one follows the main character's little younger brother in this one. I didn't like this one as much because, again, I think it was the lack of communication drove me nuts again. I don't know what it was about this one. I think this one was a lot less focused on the circus too, which it was still focused on the circus, don't get me wrong, but I think I didn't enjoy it as much because it didn't focus on it quite as much. But if they do anything else in that series, I don't think they are. I think it's only a duology. But if they do something else in that series, I'm definitely going to pick it up. I give it 4 stars. It was really good, just not as good as the first. Okay, and that is the 16 books I read this month. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want, subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you like this and you want to see me do it again next month. This month, I have a feeling that I'm going to be reading a lot because it is my birth month, and I'm also going to be ordering a ton of books this month. I'm not sticking to my book buying rule this month. I'm going to be ordering a lot of books, so because I'm treating myself. But I hope you enjoyed it. I will talk to you again.